GATE 2017 Metallurgical Engineering Question 24. Which one of the following manufacturing techniques is used for making window glass? There are four options. Let us look at each option one by one. The first option is investment casting. Now, in investment casting, what we usually do is we make a tool and we inject that tool with the cold wax, and that cold wax pattern are assembled onto the sprue, okay, and into the pattern assembly. Once they are assembled onto the sprue, then they are dipped in ceramic slurry, and the successive layers are built upon it, and then it leads to the formation of a hard shell. Now later on we need to remove the wax pattern. Okay, so we do firing cycles to de-wax the pattern. Okay, so the molds are flash fired to remove the wax and sprue material. Later on, once our patterns are de-waxed, then the molten metal is poured into the hollow mold, okay, and then it is allowed to cool. Once the molten metal is cooled to room temperature, then the ceramic shell is broken off, okay, and individual castings are cut away. Later on, we do the post-processing operations like finishing, testing, inspection, packing, and shipping. Right? And the materials that can be cast using this method include stainless steel alloys, brass, aluminium, carbon steel. So that was the first technique, investment casting. The next method is patenting. Okay, so generally this method is used in wire drawing operations. It is a heat treatment of steel wire. Okay, we heat the steel wire up to 870 to 950 degrees Celsius, and then cool it to 450 to 550 in salt or lead melt. Then the wire undergoes isothermal holding and the further cooling in air or in water. Okay, it is used to obtain thin plate ferrite carbide microstructure, and the purpose of patenting is to improve the ductility of the metal. So generally before drawing the wire, it is generally patented. So the third option is spray forming. In spray forming, an alloy is melted normally in induction furnace, and then the molten metal is slowly poured through a conical tun dish into a small bore ceramic nozzle. Okay, and the molten metal, it exits the furnace as thin free falling stream and is broken up into droplets by annular array of gas jets. Okay, these droplets then proceed downwards, accelerated by the gas jet, to impact onto a substrate. And the process is arranged such that the droplet strikes the substrate whilst in semi-solid condition. Okay, this provides the sufficient liquid fraction to stick the solid fraction together. So the deposition continues, gradually building up a spray formed billet of metal on the substrate. Now lastly, so this technique is also not used for making window glass. So none of the above three that we have discussed so far are used for making window glass. The final one is float bath method. In this technique, we can see the raw blended glass materials, they enter through the raw materials charge. Okay, then in the melting furnace, okay, the burner melts the glass at a temperature about 1600 degrees Celsius. Thereby it enters the refining furnace. Okay, where in refining furnace the temperature maintained is in the range of 1100 to 1300 degrees Celsius. Now in this furnace, the glass cools down and the air bubbles are removed from the inside, thereby leading to the float bath. Okay, the glass floats on the melted tin to evenly form the width and the thickness and ensure the planarity on the both sides. Understand? So that is a float bath. So that's where the term float bath comes into picture. After float bath, it comes the annealing, where all the residual stresses that are formed are slowly relieved by heating the glass to stress relieving temperature. Finally, the glass undergoes the cutting operation, where The glass is cut to the necessary size. So for making window glass, we need a plain glass, and that is manufactured using float bath method. So to know more about this method, kindly refer lecture number 2, Glass in Buildings, Design and Application by Professor K.N. Satyanarayan, Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Madras. Thank you.